Are you thinking of Dashavatar Stotra?
Yes.
Yeah, well that is Shakti Avesh, even though it's in the Dashavatar Stotra.
Yeah. As I know, still now that the devotees, you can see different, like devotees who propagate Krishna or the God consciousness, he'll be having the Shakti avatars. They are the empowered by Krishna.
No, Lord Buddha is mentioned as one of the Shakti Avesh avatars. There's no dispute. But I understand that you might have assumed.
Yes.
Right. So I'm trying to dispel that assumption. One of the things I purposely do is I try to touch upon things we already assume. And maybe wrong assumption. Otherwise, what's the point of the class? If your ignorance remains intact, I'm not doing you any favors. I have to have some hand in helping alleviate some of the ignorance that might be there.
Where's the reference? You want to reference?
Teaching of Lord Chaitanya. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. List.
Okay, I have one more question that you are talking about the person who is in the material world is already delivered, like you can say Bhakti Vedantas.
Oh, by the way, just before I finish, teaching of Lord Chaitanya means it's like a summary study of that particular section in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's already there. Okay, go on. Sorry, what was your next question?
The next question is that you are saying that being in this material world is, there are some who are liberated souls who are still in the material world. You got my point?
Oh, say it again, liberated?
The devotees who are already liberated being in this material world.
Right.
So I have doubt that what about the modes which they have in being in this material world if they are liberated?
I'm not sure if it was what we discussed, but I'll answer your question. Is it something we discussed? I don't think so.
Yes, you made one point that yeah.
I was referring to the Mayavadis.
Before that.
I did? Okay. Yeah. I'm not recollecting. But anyway, your point is devotees who are liberated, what about the modes? Don't they have some influence upon them?
Yes, that is my question.
Right. I still don't think it was in, but I'll answer it. So Prabhupada explains that they're called Jivan Mukta. While living, they're liberated. Now, he gives the example. He says you can't understand it, but you can understand the example I'm going to give you. This was in a morning walk. Devotees were failing to understand. They were persisting with your point. The modes of nature are there. He is here. There is some shadow of some touch. Prabhupada explained there is no shadow of no touch. He said it's like this. He said yes, the body is not spiritual. Prabhupada said the body is not spiritual. But it is considered spiritual like this. He said it's iron is iron. It's iron. It's like metal. But in fire, for a long time, it becomes red hot. Now if you touch that iron, you will not experience iron. What will you experience? Fire. It has nothing about it which is iron. It is iron in name only. For all intents and purposes, it is fire. So when a devotee is fully Krishna conscious, it has transformed. There's a transformation has taken place. He's fully spiritual. Now, because we're so conditioned, we can't see spirit, even if it's standing in front of us. But this example helps us. This example, it gives us an understanding. So devotee, see, what is material? Material means there are when you touch a material thing, it has an influence on you in terms of mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. A devotee's touch doesn't have that influence of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So it's different.
That means his consciousness.
His consciousness, but also his body now has changed. Just like the iron, essentially it's, so-called Fe atoms, described as iron atoms. But they're not functioning as iron at all. They're functioning as fire. So, now the thing is, body in itself is dead. The spirit soul has become so fully developed. The body's normal material composition has been transformed. Okay. Pass it behind first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I've got two questions. They are more in the nature of clarifying some points. I've heard devotees say that Srila Prabhupada is a Shakti Avesh Avatar.
Yeah, he is Shakti Avesh Avatar.
So I just like to find out what are the criteria to...
I'll give you a reference from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada gives it himself in the preface of the Bhagavatam. Tadvag visarga janataga viplava yasmin pratishlokam abhadyavatyapi namani granan. Last line I'm forgetting. That verse is saying that this Bhagavatam will cause a revolution in the impious lives of a misdirected civilization. We are 5,000 years after the Bhagavatam was spoken. When did it ever create a revolution in the lives of a misdirected civilization before Prabhupada? Never. And it did. That's considered a reference of a Shakti Avesh Avatar. Happened in the hands of Srila Prabhupada. So this is not mere sentimental, oh glories. This is their Shastric reference. Next clarification.
Next question is with regards to the word causeless mercy. Causeless mercy. When you say causeless mercy, we get the impression that it is by the sweet will of the Lord, He does something. He gives, He saves a living entity from this repeated birth and death in this material world. But then again, we've also heard in Sastra that causeless mercy has been used to describe Krishna's devotee. So my question here is, is there a criteria again for this use of this word causeless mercy?
Yeah, it deserves a whole class to explain. But in brief, because when a question is asked, the least we shouldn't do is answer it, not, The point to understand is that becoming associated with Krishna, if Krishna does not reciprocate, you cannot. In other words, it's not within your power to get devotional service. It has to be granted to you. There's nothing you can do to orchestrate, to say, I have devotional service. It has to be given. I'll give an example, and Prabhupada gave this example once. A child cannot contrive milk of his mother. Mother has to give it. Okay, there's no power within the child. It can produce milk of its mother. The mother gives it. So, devotional service is the mercy of Krishna, causelessness. It takes the form of a devotee. So the verse is ए रूपे ब्रह्मांड भ्रमित कौन भाग्यवान जी Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti. So, who is that very fortunate person who receives the mercy of Guru and Krishna and gets the seed of devotional service? So that's the point. So this establishes a number of things. That the Lord is very merciful. He's not holding back. He doesn't have to do it, but He's very magnanimous. Have it. But the other point is we can't have it of our own, by ourselves. So, we pass it to
Hare Krishna. Really, you said that we should not differentiate between Lord and like Krishna, Narayana, Narasimha. But in Bhagavatam, Iteshamsha, in that sloka, it says that Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And if we compare with the gunas and all, like Krishna has 64 gunas and Lord Vishnu or Lord Narayana has 60 gunas. Then please clear this.
Yeah. If you look at those gunas, they are of the nature of Leela. They are not anything less power, less supremacy, less Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's actually Leela. The Lord has innumerable forms because of His innumerable pastimes. In the form of Krishna, He has specific qualities He displays in that particular form. That's all.
We have heard that the devotee of Lord Narayana, after the death of that particular devotee, he will go to abode of Lord Narayana, and the devotee of Lord Krishna who are in Krishna Prema devotion level, he will go to Golok Vrindavana. So is it true that?
But it's not decided by your material life.
Yeah.
In other words, don't think that if I do a pretense of loving Krishna in Goloka, that qualifies me for Goloka. Don't think that. I'll give you an example. Prabhupada said, I've established Radha Krishna deities, but you're not worshipping Radha Krishna. You're worshipping Lakshmi Narayan. You know this. You have to worship them with awe and reverence. You can't worship them as Radha Krishna. You have no access.
If we cannot maintain that mode because of that.
No, its point is simple. It's a development of your what's called rasa. There's no development of rasa. There's no question of rasa until you are already liberated. Until after, it's a question that can't be asked. Until you are fully liberated from the modes of nature, fully, completely. In other words, it's a question Shukadev Goswami can ask. The four Kumaras can ask. Not you, not me. None of us. It's for persons who are completely liberated from the influence of the material energy. So we're learning that I can't know about it. That's what we learn. It's an area of those who are already fully beyond the touch of the material world, who are not affected by hunger, thirst, old age. There are 6 impediments of the material world that affect a conditioned living entity. They're not affected by them. Think about that.
Pure Krishna conscious person.
Yeah. They're not affected by any of those things. Then you can ask that question. Until then, it doesn't apply. So nobody should be thinking, oh, we're not lucky. You're nothing. Prabhupada said some descriptive words, what we are. I'll save them for when you hear from Prabhupada's mouth. They're not fitting that I should. We're a worm in there. Any other questions?
I don't know if someone asked this because sometimes I don't hear the question because of the fan. So it's possible to someone that go to Goloka Vrindavan to fall down from them?
No. Krishna says one does not return. The answer is no. You have a question? Okay. Oh, you have a question. Pass it.
Hare Krishna. I have a question from our discussion last week, if that's okay. You were discussing how when we're preaching in Lord Chaitanya's movement, we don't preach sub-religious principles. But at the same time, when we become devotees, we've got 4 regulative principles which support the 4 foundations of religion, which are sub-religious principles: mercy, truthfulness, etc.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up because I partly felt unsatisfied. I wanted to say more. If we limit our preaching to that level, that's the problem. In other words, when you have much more to give and you only give this, let's say you're a doctor, the person has multiple diseases, but if you treat his most superficial disease, you're kind of doing injustice to yourself, to your skill, your ability, and also to the person who has these other problems. People are really suffering from their being envious of Krishna. If we can cure that, how much greater service that is than to address, yes, they will benefit if they adopt sub-religious principles, moral principles. But there is incalculable benefit if they became a pure devotee of the Lord.
But also for these 4 regulative principles, they're required for us to come to the level of
So
understanding.
there's no minimizing of that.
Yeah.
In my statement, we're not promoting the idea, oh, it doesn't matter if you break them. But we're talking about the preaching. What is the limit of what you should give to people? When you have the ability to give them the highest, why give them the least? Now, the question may arise, can they take the higher? Then, no, then you give what they can accept. It's limited by their ability or inability. But if they can, you should give them the highest. And Prabhupada, just to finish the point, he showed that surprisingly, because Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabura, everyone is originally a devotee of Krishna. It's an expert preacher who can bring that out. He's a really advanced devotee. That's proof of the advancement of the devotee.
I agree with it. There was one devotee giving class here one day who said that he was preaching. He said his students couldn't understand that they were servants of Krishna, so he was preaching that chanting Hare Krishna was to control the mind.
Was what?
Preaching that we chant Hare Krishna to control the mind. Control the mind.
Yeah, well, anyway, but it's a reflection on us also, that we're unable to give. We shouldn't think it's always their limit, because like I just said, Prabhupada proved. Who thought these people in the 1960s were capable of serving Lord Chaitanya in the way they did? Nobody thought that. Nobody. Prabhupada not only thought that, he believed it, and he did it. He didn't disbelieve it for a moment. If he disbelieved it, do you think it was... No, he believed it fully. And the point is, he was able to touch the soul. Even despite so many apparent disqualifications. Now we are having his legacy. We should honor him to his level. Otherwise, we're not fitting followers, actually. I mean, it's okay for any other organization to give sub-religious principles, but it's not good enough for a follower of Srila Prabhupada, who should give what he gave, which is literally pure love of God.
But concentrating on that, we're the servant, and not the rasa aspect, as Prabhu was asking about.
Like I said, I mean in the full context of the way Srila Prabhupada has packaged it. That should be our same mood. We shouldn't have a different mood. That's called anuyayi, a follower who follows the mood of his master. Otherwise, we are working on our own. We're independent of him now. But that comes about if you're a very faithful follower. If you're a good disciple, it comes about naturally. It's not contrived. But because we're not trained to be a good follower, then we think, nah, they can't. That means I'm deciding. I'm not thinking, no, my spiritual master, this was his standard. So we develop our own standard. And that's called, and if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita carefully, that's how Appa Sampradayas begin. Because the follower broke away from the master, the head of that branch. Then he becomes a broken limb. It's called asar. Asar means broken. A tree, a limb that breaks. Still, there's some flowers and leaves on it, but it decays in time. Granth Raj, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai Srila Prabhupada.